All right. This is partially a test, but also so I want to start trying to do more live streams on this channel. Mostly just for when I'm sitting down and editing, whether that be like videos or photos. Just because I feel like a lot of times when I'm editing and stuff, I do chop a lot of like a lot of stuff out that that I'm doing, like with, because editing is very very instinctual and very kind of off the cuff, at least the way that I typically edit. And because of that, I figured if I did like a live stream where yeah, there's no cuts, there's no edits or anything, I know that I personally would find that interesting. If you have any thoughts on that or anything else, let me know. But yeah, with that, I'm going to take you through editing a vlog with me. It's not done. There are it's probably I'm not even done shooting it, to be completely honest, but I figured I'm working on it today, so I'll just live stream it. Yeah, hang on, I need to change the actual name of this live stream though. And if you want to say anything specific, please let me know. Okay, let me make sure everything's good on this end. I didn't know this until recently, but apparently if you're trying to get your channel monetized, you have to hit like 4,000 watch time hours, and actually live streaming counts for that. So if you stream and you have somebody watching your stuff for 4,000 hours within like, I think it's like 90 days or something, it counts for your watch time. I wish I would have known that when I was trying to get monetized. Okay, cool. All right, so I might as well just dive into it. Like I said, this is it's not going to be start to finish. I'll do that eventually with the live stream, but I'm kind of halfway through this video. And this is just kind of off the cuff. But up until this point, so what I have is I've started doing some narration at the beginning just to kind of give like the viewer just the gist of what the actual video is about, kind of set like some expectations, and mostly to make them feel like they're when they click on something or decide to like commit to it. This is more of a YouTube thing. Then it's kind of like they're reassured that they got what they paid for, versus like clicking on something and they're just clickbaited into something else that has nothing to do with it. Especially a vlog where there's different external things that you can't really control that may not necessarily be part of the subject matter that they're clicking on the video for. This kind of just reassures them that it may like swerve to the left or to the right, but at the end of the entirety of the video, or the main overarching theme, is what they actually clicked on. So with that, that's what the first half is going to be like, and I already recorded the audio for it. Color grading is something that can be really, really daunting and difficult if you don't know what you're doing. And in this video, I'm going to actually show you what my workflow is for all of the clips that I get with my DJI Pocket 3. This can be used for other cameras as well, but this is going to be... All right, and right now, obviously, there's like a bunch of clips that have yet to be put in. I'm just picking different little pieces or interesting clips within the video. And like, since I'm not done shooting the video, obviously, it's not done. And then after that, then I have a little swooshy sound that gets you actually into the vlog with a song that I've kind of made like the main thing, just to let people know like, okay, now the vlog is starting. Today's vlog. For the past week, I've got a decent amount of things from TikTok Shop. The company's cool. And then also, most of the clips from this video are actually shot on my DJI Osmo Pocket 3, which is kind of cool. It makes it really, it can be kind of stressful when you have like 6 of them approved at once. Like right now, I have like 9 videos that have to be made. Savannah normally opens these boxes because she, well, I really don't care, and she cares more about it than I do.
Oh, that's gonna be nice.
Okay, a little fun little tidbit. That second clip where she says, "Oh, that's going to be nice," that was actually shot out of sequence. So she actually said that before this clip where I pick up the camera, but I kind of rearranged it because I felt like it kind of reinforced what I just said about Savannah being more enthusiastic about the TikTok stuff, which she actually is. Most of the time she actually opens the boxes for me. And honestly, recently she's been shooting more of the videos, just because I'm really, really bad at I'm really bad at making the videos, because you're given 2 weeks, and I'd wait till this last time I waited till the day of to make the video. But all that being said, yeah, that sometimes with vlogs and stuff, I'll say things and I'll drag things around to kind of best fit the narrative a little bit. And it's especially because this has nothing to do with the video, I wanted to keep it short and concise, but still keep it kind of interesting, because I think it does provide an interesting little spin for just like day-to-day life for Savannah and I.
Oh, that's gonna be nice. Hey.
Now it's transitional, obviously. I needed cables for the new microphone. Okay, so a little brag on this Pocket 3. This isn't with the external microphone. This is with the internal microphones built in, and we're in a camera shop, and the counter is right behind me. Like the counter is literally right there. So I'm whispering, and I jacked the crap out of this audio and compressed it, and it still sounds okay. It doesn't sound great, but it sounds passable, which that's a testament to this Pocket 3 and just how versatile and how good it actually is. This is the only place that had short-ish cables to local camera shop. So another thing I like to do is I like to have, it's called L cuts or J cuts, and basically what that means is you have audio from existing clips or clips to come that start playing before they see them or after they see them. And I think this one is a J cut. And I find them extremely satisfying because you're hearing somebody's voice. And for me, when you finally reveal the person talking and you see where they are location-wise, especially if there's ambient sounds like being in this camera shop, I find that to be really satisfying for me, at least. Yeah, just a random. After we went to the camera shop, we were supposed to go to Savannah wanted to go to like Home Goods and a couple of other places, but once we finished, we just realized that we just didn't really want to drive all the way out there, so we ended up going home. Okay, this is a good example. I'm still not completely sold on this. We're 2 minutes in to the video, and I'm still like not at the actual like video portion, which is why I wanted to include the little disclaimer or the little introduction at the beginning, because then again it reassures them that there is stuff coming. Like 2 minutes in, I still haven't really mentioned it. I've talked about the Osmo Pocket 3, which the subject of this video is to how to color grade the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, because I've been getting some questions about it. So it kind of dances around the subject matter, but it's not actually what the video is about. But at the end of this scene, I'm actually going to mention what this video is about. But again, that's 2 minutes and 20 seconds in. I might want to shorten it up. It just depends on if I feel like this stuff helps contribute to the whole story of for the video, if that makes sense. When I'm editing, it's very this is like 90% done, but it's all subject to change if I feel like the video is dragging or getting kind of boring. Like the settings I have on the camera to actually editing in Premiere, which is what I currently use. All right, now I'm in day 2, using this text to obviously say like, hey, this is the next day, without having to say this is the next day. It helps transition me, especially when things are going across multiple days of shooting. Today we're shooting a wedding, and it's another J cut. It's a photo, video wedding, and we have a couple of second shooters just and everything. I feel like recently we've had a lot of just the full-blown, you have Savannah and I, and then 2 shooters, or we have 4 shooters all together, which honestly I don't really mind. That's what we're doing today. Right now we're getting coffee, but later today, at 1, we're shooting a wedding. So I cut the music there on purpose, actually. That's one of the reasons I like this song, because there's a lot of potential ins and outs for music. I use music more to transition and to help bring energy up when I feel like a video is lacking. But also, I don't use music when I want things to feel a little more focused and a little more precise. And like right now is where I'm actually, the next scene is actually me going to be going over the actual physical, or what actually I'm using camera setting wise for the video, or for not for the video, for the DJI Osmo, which is what this video is about. And I want it to stay focused, and I want the viewer to kind of feel that focus. So I purposely took the music out then and there, and it acted as a nice little transitional piece as well. You just saw it was on the DJI Osmo. This is also shot on my A7S III. This is obviously not the Osmo Pocket 3. Osmo Pocket. And before I get into what I actually do, and then the audio is just from this microphone right here. Okay, and then I did the screen recording thing, and I talk about my color grading process, which is right here. Basically, in a nutshell, what I do for my color grading after everything is set up for the like in camera, and this doesn't matter. Just goes across all camera systems for me. I use 2 different adjustment layers. The bottom one is going to be a Rec 709 conversion LUT. So if you look at all of my footage, it's going to look kind of nasty and kind of gray. And that's because it's shot in log. So basically a conversion LUT gets me from this nasty gray to something that you would see like on an iPhone or a normal camera. And then the top layer is just going to be my look LUT. When this video comes out, it'll kind of go into it a little bit more, but in a nutshell, that's what this whole section is about. And I think that's up to where I have edited. But yeah. Okay, so now I have to go to the actual, like we're going to the wedding. And I didn't get any talking heads except for the very, very end. 1, because we were kind of busy. And 2, I knew that I was going to record some kind of like little talking head or narration track while the wedding like clips were playing. So because of that, I didn't really record anything. The tricky part is going to be marrying up this that I've already recorded, where I'm like talking about a bunch of random stuff. A7S III. So much so that actually and the final talking clip, which is right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring that right here, and kind of hear what I had said to figure out what the heck, how I'm going to get these to make sense together. Right now I'm just adjusting a little bit of the colors because it looked a little red, and it's passable. I'll mess with it a little bit more. Little fun fact for my audio and stuff, I have a couple of presets that I made. This DJI mic pre is what I use for 99% of everything, and then for the Osmo, since it's a mono track, I actually have its own preset. That way I just know that it's all gonna like be hitting at the right audio level. Like I think that's the mark of that's the mark of a try, and she's the levels are decent enough. Okay, so what I think normally, this is where it kind of gets a little I'm just kind of piecing this together and making it up as you go along, and it's where the instinctual part kind of comes in, because I literally, I don't really remember how to, I don't remember what I shot that day, and also this is like wedding footage that I obviously don't want to include because it has very little to do with the video. But I still need to like get like some of it to help, because I had mentioned it before in the video, and it's just part of the story. So I need a transitional piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this little driving clip in. And what I might do is I might do the J-cut again. I told you I use the J-cut all the time to help let the viewer know that like another clip is coming or another scene transition is coming. Let's see. Okay, and then have this will be a L slash a J cut. I don't know what that's technically called. But now what I'll do is I'll start adding some B-roll. Yeah, I don't like that. Maybe this clip might work. Okay. Sometimes I'll do right on the beat, but also like I try to like space it out a little bit to help not make the video feel so jarring. That's kind of a cool clip. All right. That clip was a little dark. When you do something for a job or you do something a lot, typically the one thing that rises to the top, the thing that's the most important out of everything else over specs and over how good a camera could be in theory with perfect lighting and everything else, is practicality. How practical is it, and can it give me a stable, solid image? And I think that's where a lot of people with color grading get kind of hung up, because they don't really know, or they don't have systems built in place to help them be successful and taking advantage of using a log profile. And for those people, I would say, yeah, probably, maybe you shouldn't. I'm going to cut that little piece off. Using a log profile. Because you don't really need that little second part in there. Using a log profile. Okay. Over time, maybe you can start dipping your toe into log and start. This is like unnecessary fluff that I'm chopping out because you don't need to. I don't need to hear it. You don't need to hear it, and yeah. Or a way of doing it that is suitable or sustainable for you specifically. Like I showed you with how I color grade and the 2 adjustment layers. That's a system that just works for me. I don't know if it's going to work for you. I don't know if it works for everyone. And taking advantage of using a log profile. And the 2 adjustment layers. That's a system that just works for me. I don't know if it's going to work for you. I don't know if how I color grade, and like I showed you with how I color grade and the 2 adjustment layers. That's a system that just works for me. I don't know if it's going to work for you. I don't know if it works for everybody, but with the combination of how I have my Pocket 3 set up and how I have my adjustment layers and everything else in my Premiere Pro template, that works incredibly well for me, and it's incredibly effective. Combining that with the rock solid stellar image that the Pocket template, that works incredibly well for me, and it's incredibly effective. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to keep this, but I'm going to put it in for now. The second half that I recorded, I talked about how the Pocket 3 actually is replacing my A7S III more than I expected. I don't know if I necessarily need to keep that in, or maybe I could just drag this into another section of the video for later. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag it over here. Because I think like this small little clip, these 2 clips right here kind of fit, and they'll act as like a little catalyst to guide you to this little talking head right here in as few words as possible. Typically what I try to do with my videos is I try to get to the point in as few words as possible, but also making it feel natural, not all chopped up and unnecessarily like. I just think the super choppy stuff is kind of annoying when you do it all the time, and it can really dehumanize the video. And my number one goal is to make my videos feel laid back and personal, if that makes sense, because that reflects my personality. I'm not really a super hypey kind of person, and I think at least for me, I'm trying to make videos that reflect my personality instead of trying to be something that I'm actually not. All that being said, I think what I did, those little sections, I think everything that I chopped out wasn't needed, and this is just the bare bones of what I actually need to get the point across. when you do something for a job or you do something a lot, typically the one thing that rises to the top, the thing that's the most important out of everything else over specs and over how good a camera could be in theory with perfect lighting and everything else, is practicality. How practical is it, and can it give me a stable, solid image? And I think that's where a lot of people with color grading get kind of hung up, because they don't really know, or they don't have systems built in place to help them be successful and taking advantage of using a log profile. Like I showed you with how I color grade and the 2 adjustment layers, that's a system that just works for me. I don't know if it's going to work for you. I don't know if it works for everybody, but with the combination of how I have my Pocket 3 set up and how I have my adjustment layers and everything else in my Premiere Pro template, that works incredibly well for me, and it's incredibly effective. Okay, so now incredibly effective. I think that works. So now what I'll do is I'll bring up this audio, and I may chop it up to make it end, because I want the next section, like this video, I want the music to end with me coming into this next section of the video. That way audibly, like, kind of gives your brain a cue, like, okay, like we're transitioning, we're pivoting to a different section, different talking point, that whole thing. But again, I may need to chop this up a little bit to make that feel a little bit smoother. Okay, now I need to put a bunch of B-roll in to last this whole thing, which shouldn't be an issue because I have all of this to kind of choose from. Alright, so what I typically do when I'm editing, I do a 3 or a 5 roll, meaning that there's clips are going to be in clips of 3 or clips of 5, and on the 3rd or 5th clip, I typically have a longer clip in there. And these are just like, this is just a generalization. It's not necessarily like what I do every single time. But it kind of, like, again, helps make the video feel a little bit less jittery, and to me it's a little bit more satisfying to actually watch. So with that, this 5th clip is going to be a little bit longer. When you do something for a job or you do something a lot, typically the one thing that rises to the top, okay, so this shot's kind of static and kind of boring. So what I'm going to actually do, this is something else I do a lot. I'm actually going to have it zoom out in post to, like, give you a little bit more movement. Actually, I'll bring it up too. I do this a lot, and it just helps keep the clip interesting, especially when a clip's not necessarily interesting. Alright, so now this looks a lot better. When you do something for a job or you do something a lot, typically the one thing that rises to the top, the thing that's the most important, yeah, to me that was a lot better, and it made a little bit more sense. I kind of like that clip where you can see the pocket. I didn't plan on that, but I'll just include that in there. Important out of everything else over specs and over how good a camera could. Let's get some movement, some walking shots in here, mostly because I just need to speed this thing along. Specs and over how good a camera could be in theory with. Okay, that looked good. Oh, here we go. Perfect lighting and everything. Start halfway through the clip. Be in theory with perfect lighting and everything else is practicality. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm just gonna, since this is a wedding, I'm going to bring in the audio of when they kiss and cheer. I'm not gonna have it that loud because that's gonna be way too loud. So I'm probably gonna bring it down 19 decibels, just a little bit, just to, like, help you, like, bring you into the moment. But I think I didn't get the clip of them kissing. solid image. And I think that's where a lot of people with color grading, what is that? Theory with perfect lighting and everything else is practicality. All right. How practical is it, and can it give me a okay. Is it practicality? How practical is it, and can it give me a stable? I'm gonna get to the point a little bit more with this clip. I'm gonna also add the that little post zoom, digital zoom, I guess is technically what it is. Actually, I don't know what it's technically called. Practicality. How practical is it, and can it give me a stable, solid image? And I think that's where a lot of people with color. All right there. I'm gonna cut the clip, but I'm going to keep this audio and make it fade to the next clip. That might be a little bit too much. All right, bring it in a little bit. Okay. And this is 1080 by 1920. Practicality. How practical is it, and can it give me a stable, solid image? And I think that's where a lot of people with color grading get. There we go. That's where, okay, so that will help since it is a wedding, getting the actual kiss in there. It's kind of a, that's kind of important. And then we go into couples photos. People with color grading get kind of hung up because they don't really know, or they don't have. And again, the focus is not the wedding, which is why I'm kind of like just going over this like from like a 10,000 foot view. Systems built in place to help them be successful and taking advantage of using a log. All right, there. I like that. Oh, Lord. Okay. Profile. Like I showed you with and actually I'm gonna edit this audio real quick. Like I showed you with, because there's ums in there that you don't really need. Yeah. Some people have like words that they say when they're thinking. Is definitely mine. I try really, really hard not to, but sometimes, especially when I'm just doing it off the cuff, it just comes out. With how I color grade and with how I color grade, I'm not a big fan of the intensity that my, let's see if this works. With how I color grade and the two adjustment layers, that's the system that sometimes you can't really do a ton with it. Again, it's problem solving a lot of times, and you're basically literally piecing things together, and that's the thing I love about making vlogs and videos, but sometimes it doesn't come together quite like you expect, but that's the fun of this. With how I color grade and the two adjustment layers, that's the system that just works. This one might be a fun one. I color grade and the two adjustment layers, that's the system that just works for me. I don't know if it's going to work for you. I don't know. Cutting the cake. I don't know if it works for everybody, but I don't need any of this. That might be fun since it's a different lighting situation. It's with the okay, I'm gonna have to bring the shadows up. This is like that's super contrasty. This is where 10-bit really does help in the video. But with the combination of how I have my Pocket 3. This works. There's also a clip in here I'm purposely saving. This one right here. Because I'm gonna have the next day in there as like a transitional thing. Of how I have my Pocket 3 set up and how I have my adjustment layers and everything else in my Premiere Pro And then I'm going to add this outside clip to help transition you outside where I'm actually sitting. Okay, let's see. Of how I have my Pocket 3 set up and how I have. That looks okay. Again, this is all just kind of like how much is too much for showing of something. Like again, this is like big picture. The wedding's not. It's not a big factor in this video. It's just a small little piece, and I don't want to get lost in the weeds with it. But with the combination of how I have my Pocket 3 set up and how I have, I don't like that clip. That clip kind of sucks if I'm being honest. I like this clip more. But with the combination of how I have my Pocket 3 set up and this clip took like 7 tries to how I have my adjust, because like I got to make sure both cameras are in frame first of all. Second, they both are focused. Yeah, I can get kind of, it's a little bit much. Adjustment layers and everything else in my Premiere Pro template. That's not my favorite. So what I'll do, because I do like that clip, I'll drop it in here. If it works for everybody, but with the combination of how I have my Pocket 3 set up, that works. That's like a B-level clip at best. How I have my Pocket 3 set up and how I have my adjustment layers and everything else in my Premiere Pro template, that works incredibly well for me, and it's incredibly okay. One more outside clip, and then I'll have the incredibly effective. I lied. There's going to be a couple more clips. Because I'm bringing the audio up like this song, and it's going to fade out as I'm about to talk. So I need a little bit more. Really effective. I am in fact going to cut this. This probably isn't going to work, but we'll see. It's not my favorite, so we'll find a better place to cut it. That might be it. Not quite. Sound good. Oh, okay, we'll do it there. The original one sounded fine. I just was trying to see if I could get it to sound a little bit better. A lot of this stuff, and this is where like having a musical background is definitely really beneficial, because you're kind of like scoring your own stuff to fit sequences and everything else. Which again, I love that stuff because of my background. Yeah. That's not the worst. Let's see what it sounds like or looks like with this. I don't remember what I talked about in this video, this part of the clip either. So this is going to be, if I had to guess, I'm probably going to have to chop a lot of stuff out, which is fine. I'd rather have too much than not enough. We're wrapping up. We have just over an hour left. We're done at 9:30. It's 8:22. I also wanted to have at least one clip because this is a vlog, and I wanted to pull you kind of away from like looking at it from like a third party's perspective back into like the first person kind of view. And that's what this clip is really for, to remind you like this is still a vlog. It's not like a tutorial video. It's not like a third person is like narrating somebody's life. This is like in fact like a vlog and all that stuff. That's the main kind of thought behind having this here. I don't know how much I'm actually going to keep of this clip though, because again, if it doesn't have anything to do with the overarching theme of the actual video, then well, it's gonna get nixed. We're wrapping up. We have just over an hour left. We're done at 9:30. It's 8:22. Wedding's gone good so far. I didn't realize this, but this wedding, we're literally using 3 separate cameras for video. We're using this Pocket 3, which has its own like color scheme and color profiles and its own log profile. We're using my Sony a7S III, which has its own, and we're also using a Canon R6. And literally all of them are going to end up looking similar-ish. You'll be able to tell if you really pixel peep, but they'll look good enough, like, or passable. I'm getting a little into the weeds right there. I do want to keep that part because I know today when I was going to get coffee, I did mention that in shooting. So that'll kind of like help carry the story along. Color scheme and color profiles and his own log profile. We're using my Sony a7S III, which has its own, and we're also using a Canon R6. And literally all of them are going to end up looking similar-ish. You'll be able to tell if you really a Canon R6. And literally a Canon R6. I think I can cut it there. Let's see what else I'm talking about. That's the mark of somebody that's really good at thing, or the big takeaway for this whole little spiel I'm giving is be patient and take time if you're going to make LUTs, like your own personal LUTs like I have. That's getting into the weeds. I don't need that. Is for streamlined, but setting it up to be streamlined sometimes takes with all that. I think it's really cool being able to use a bunch of different cameras that have kind of no business. Okay, so this is a good example. I just cut out all of that, and this is what I'm left with. I love being able to do that. Just like kind of trim all the fat and just its own like color scheme and color profiles and its own log profile. We're using my Sony a7S III, which has its own, and we're also using a Canon R6. With all that, I think it's really cool being able to use a bunch of different cameras that have kind of no business. Hopefully that helped. Cameras. Okay, so I didn't actually say like anything. So I'm gonna do like an informal, like we're getting out of this. Have kind of no business. That have really cool being able to use a bunch of different cameras that have kind of no business. I'm gonna have to get creative with this. Hopefully that kind of no business. I think it's really cool being able to use a bunch of different cameras that have kind of no business. R6 with all that. Oh, I'm just gonna cut that because that makes no sense. Here we go. A Canon R6. Hopefully that helped you. All right. Oh God, sorry. Okay, so I think roughly that's okay. When you do something for a job or you do something a lot, typically the one thing that rises to the top, the thing that's the most important out of everything else, over specs and over how good a camera could be in theory with perfect lighting and everything else, is practicality. How practical is it, and can it give me a stable, solid image? And I think that's where a lot of people with color grading get kind of hung up, because they don't really know, or they don't have systems built in place to help them be successful and taking advantage of using a log profile. Like I showed you with how I color grade and the 2 adjustment layers, that's a system that just works for me. I don't know if it's going to work for you. I don't know if it works for everybody, but with the combination of how I have my Pocket 3 set up and how I have my adjustment layers and everything else in my Premiere Pro template, that works incredibly well for me, and it's incredibly effective. What was that? That works incredibly well for me, and it's incredibly effective. We're wrapping up. We have just over an hour. Okay, that makes sense. I just wanted to make sure that like everything like felt good, didn't feel like it was too drawn out, and I think for this scene it's good. That's solid. That's what I kind of wanted. And what I said is like the narration part, and then this part right here, that like kind of made sense. It didn't feel like it was just 2 polar opposite things that I actually recorded on 2 separate days. Which makes me feel good. I don't know if it'll end up being the final piece, but I'm gonna keep it for now. All right, now I need to actually import some footage. A little kind of how I organize my my bins and stuff. It's not organized whatsoever. TH is typically, it's for talking heads, so like any stuff that I shoot or record in Premiere itself with this microphone goes there. The Nashville drone stuff is just drone footage that I had batched a while ago, and it's just gonna help. It's just to help with transitional pieces. Like if I'm like doing something here, but then like we're going to like the mall or something like that, that's gonna help bridge that gap and help transition and help guide you to another location without it being super distracting. If I want to help guide you, sometimes the super distracting like abrupt cut can be used, but that's what that's for. Intro sound is going to be just stuff that I use, like so like for the data text thing at the very beginning of the videos, that's what that sound is, like this sound right here. Where the text is going out, that's what that is. And then that rise flanger thing is this part, today's vlog. So yeah, and I know I'm going to use that for every single video, so because of that I just have them in here. And then the bin is where once I'm done using the footage for things, so like the DJI one was the wedding stuff, I'm going to take that and just drop it into this bin area, and that's like where my adjustment layer is, the graphics template, this subscribe little animation thing that I use for every single video at the end, because I think it's like not super intrusive and super annoying. I personally cannot stand when YouTubers constantly pester you to subscribe. If you want to subscribe, then I think you should, and I think that's the way it should be. All that being said, that's basically like the equivalent of my junk drawer in this thing. And then this is the next section that I'm going to be editing. So just in case you're wondering, it's not very organized whatsoever, but I mentally know what's going on, kind of. Okay, so now this is going to be I think this is day 3. Let me check. Yep, this is going to be day 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to input day 3 onto this. And I'll probably put it in the top right corner, just because that's kind of where I always put it. And I'm going to change the color. And honestly, I don't think I'm going to actually have a song transition to day 3. I think I'm just going to let the ambient audio kind of help transition it. Let's see. Okay. All right. And then that should be okay. I'll probably add the little digital punch in or punch out too. That helped you. And actually, right there. Okay, that should be enough. Now I'm going to. Whoa, what just happened? I'll probably do a zoom out. I find that to be a little more satisfying to watch and more intriguing because you're like showing, you're slowly showing the total like frame or the total image. And now I have this next section right here. Now, since this is going to be like an integral piece of, actually, I'm going to have this. I'm going to actually add compression to this audio right here. I normally only do that when there's no music playing, so that like you know that there's something going on. It's kind of quiet, so I'm going to gain it up.
Yeah, seriously, Savannah.
I think that clip that I was saying, Savannah had actually went to Kava without me, and I was a little upset that she didn't get me anything, but she ended up getting me something.
Yes, I just
It's funny.
finished eating and
It's me walking. There we go. And I'm just basically building out a second scene, or a second, like, since we're transitioning to another talking head and it's another day, I'm just basically building that little piece out.
some cough.
You know, I might actually add a song, maybe, or like hint at a song a little bit. Depends on this, how this transition ends up being.
Some cough.
Or what I might do is this. Since I know this is a talking head, I might just use the talking head as like the song for transition. Last night we got home from the wedding, and yeah, because this is talking about the wedding, so that should work in theory. Oops. Last night we got home from the wedding, and it wasn't too bad. We ended up, it was like a 30-minute drive, and we got done at 10. So again, the L cut thing being incredibly satisfying, like that whole thing, like I find that just extremely satisfying. Like it's like you finally see who's talking and what they're doing and all that stuff. So I think that works. We got done at 10, so we got home like before 11, which isn't terrible. The ones that make it, the ones that get really, really rough is when you start at 12 and you're done at 11 and it's an hour drive. Okay. What I want to do is I want to keep this like as a continuous like talking head type of thing. Did I already? I did, yes. So I'm going to add a little fade in and fade out to help guide you with the audio. Doing like fade ins and fade outs with like interspersed L cuts and J cuts is a really, really great way to help move like the videos along without having to use like stock audio or stock songs or anything like that. If it feels like if it feels like you need the video to breathe a little bit, which typically at this point in the video I like to make it breathe to kind of add like a lull, and then hopefully at the end it kind of picks back up. You're done at 11 and it's an hour. So the only other thing that I really have to do for the wedding is dump. Okay, that was a little too tight. Done at 11 and it's an hour drive. So the only other thing that I really have to do for the wedding is I don't love that, but that's okay. It's passable for right now. It's like workable. Dump all the sometimes when I find something that I don't typically like, I'll just put it in there just for the sake of it, and then kind of come back to it if I feel like I watch it back and it doesn't help with the overall, like if it like feels like it's like hitting like a speed bump, or it's kind of jarring watching it. So because of that, and also sometimes too, I may just like be over analyzing it, and that helps me kind of like not over analyze things if I don't necessarily. Yeah, does that make sense? The only other thing that I really have to do for the wedding is dump all the footage from, I think it's the four cameras that we used yesterday. And that's not a big issue. The most nerve-wracking part, honestly, is that just making sure that all the footage gets to where it's supposed to go, especially if you're going to be formatting things, which I probably will be, just because when we edit, typically it takes, from us shooting the wedding to actually delivering the product, it's about a 4 to 5 month process, meaning I'm not going to be touching it for a while. So I want to make sure that all of the footage is there before I delete it, and save to multiple places, not just one hard drive. We haven't lost anything yet. We've come close, but we haven't yet, and I would like to keep that track record. So I'm actually going to leave that entire clip in. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't delivered perfect, but I think that's also the beauty of doing like videos like this, because it adds my personality. It adds like the human aspect of it without it being like scrubbed clean. I'll leave that stuff in deliberately, especially towards the end of this, because I mean, if we're like 9 minutes, almost 10 minutes into this video, if you made it this far, then you're obviously invested in whatever I am talking about. So I feel comfortable having like these longer clips where I'm literally not like editing the clip whatsoever. Yeah, and that's something that I try not to do it until it's like the very end of the, like towards the end of the video, or at the very least you're 10 minutes in, because at that point, like I said, you're already invested. And that's where I think it's okay to like have like your personality come out and just add to like the chill vibes of like what I'm trying to go for. Keep that track record. Now I'll probably add some music. And I'll probably keep that in where like I like look at the camera and like do like open my eyebrows a little bit. I think that's, again, adding to the personality and all that stuff. Okay, and then this is the last clip for right now, because like I said, this video is actually I'm not done shooting this video. What I'll probably do tonight, since I'm almost done with this video, I'll probably add like some kind of anything to wrap it all up. I'll have to figure out what I'm going to say and then drop that in here. And this video should be done. And honestly, I may cut this whole scene. Like these clips right here, I may just cut them because they may not necessarily be needed. And I may just go straight from this to like me talking outside later in the day. Because like if I don't need a B-roll sequence, then you don't really need to include it in there. If it doesn't add to like everything in like videos like this, if it doesn't add to the video or the overall thing, then you just get rid of it, because it's going to get really boring really fast. This is not just one hard drive. We haven't lost anything yet. We've come close, but we haven't yet, and I would like to keep that track. Since this is the end of the video, or it's probably wrapping the video up, I'm going to just put the original song in. Sometimes I'll add a new song, but when you're this far into this video, I I feel like it would just be kind of distracting. Here's the song. I put it up. I accidentally put it in to the Talking Heads. It would just like add unnecessary, like introduce something unnecessarily, especially when you're trying to like wrap the video up. And this again, audibly kind of like signals to your brain like, okay, like the end is coming, because like this is the ender song typically for my videos.
Keep that track record.
Clip was a little long. Okay, what I'll do is I'll add the L cut here to kind of just make it a little more interesting. And actually what I'll do is, there we go, a little bit more movement.
Track record.
And again, what I'll do again with the digital panning and zooming, I'm going to add that just a little bit, just to give it like a third angle of movement, or a third point of movement.
Keep that track record.
Just to make it a little more interesting. Okay, if I do keep this, then that's probably all I'm going to keep of it. And I don't know if I'm going to keep this. I may change this, but I'm going to do another where I'm like zooming out. Again, I may not keep this. Maybe, okay, so this is what I'll do. That way you can see some of the drone stuff too. I'll add a single clip of a drone to like kind of help guide me to like me going outside to talk and finish this talking head, or finish this video up. And then I want to finish whatever I'm going to say when I hit this part of the song. Oh. Okay, the webcam is back. I like randomly just disconnected and reconnected. Yeah, this part of the song. And then that'll be like where the subscribe thing pops up and the video is done. This is a 10-minute video, and that's okay with me. But I gotta find a drone clip real quick. If my computer would load. Let's see. And if you're watching this video after the fact, because it'll just be on my channel in the live section, and you want to see anything specific, please let me know. Because again, I'm just doing this because I think like if people that I watched like vlogs and stuff like that if I saw that, then I would find that incredibly intriguing, incredibly useful. Because sometimes people do things like, and they may not think it's like a big groundbreaking thing because they just do it instinctively, and I think, but it could like help influence or help improve somebody else's workflow when they're making videos or thought process or whatever. So that's kind of the whole thought behind doing this like little live stream thing. And also I wanted to test the Pocket 3 to see if it actually could do it, which I think it does pretty well. And like with the active track, I think that's really cool. I think. Okay, so drone clip. Yep, and then I'll just have a little talking head that I'll probably shoot after I'm done with this live stream. And then I think this video, I'll sit with it for like a day or two. and then make any like final edits or change things around, which hopefully there's not a lot. Sometimes there is, and sometimes I'm literally chopping things up and dragging stuff in. But as it is right now, that's kind of what, like, I would say this video is like probably like 80% ish done, maybe. Okay. But yeah, anyway, like I said, if you found this useful, please let me know. And if you're watching this after the fact, please let me know. And if you want to see anything else, again, let me know. I'm gonna try to commit to doing these like once or twice a week. I want to do photo and video, like I said at the beginning of this little live stream. Just one, because Savannah and I, that's literally like 90% of what we end up doing. Like, we actually shoot very, very little. It's mostly editing because it just takes up way more time. So I figure since I'm just sitting here doing this all day, every day anyway, I might as well invite a couple of my friends, or bring a couple of my friends from the internet into the party. Okay, with that, I'm gonna go, and I will see you guys in the next video or the next live stream. Okay.